Howdy. I had to physically stop what I was doing and jump on here to deliver what looks like a very short message, kind of unlike me because I'm over here writing novellas, talking about all the nuances, the complexities, and today's is just like, nope. She is a short and sweet baby. I kind of love today's message, honestly. I feel like it's giving a break from what we've been spinning around in lately. There is a very clear message for someone who is just feeling done. Truly. They're feeling done with doubting. You might be in a place where you are just tired. You are just tired of doubting yourself. You're tired of doubting what is coming and what actually comes. There's a lot of emotion here in every which way. And I think this is partly because you've been waiting a lot longer than what feels comfortable, and you feel confused about what is coming at all because of this waiting period. So, this message is going to talk about something your guides have desperately been trying to get your attention about. And that's where this message comes into play. That's why it's so important. It is very time sensitive. It needs to go out now. I couldn't even finish doing what I was doing. It might be a rather simple message. I see this not being as heavy as it usually is here in this space. So I think it's going to explain these feelings and why very clearly that you are experiencing so much doubt. Some of you also might feel it's getting much worse, the doubt and the uncertainty and the waiting. So your guides want to confirm something to you. They want you to see something clearly and don't want you to keep going back and forth between it being for a reason and then wondering what that reason actually is and why. So this message is going to directly tell you what is going on, why you're so uncertain, why it's getting worse. If that sounds anything like you, this message will be short and sweet and very critical for you at this time. So welcome to your reading. There is a lot here about third eye overactivation. I'm going to definitely have to write more about that in the description so I don't get too sidetracked, because if I didn't do that, I wonder how long my readings would be. They would be like hours long. But this third eye being overactive for you is very important at this time. It is showing me you are in a space right now where you're experiencing extreme overactivity and mental fatigue, analysis fatigue, mental overstimulation. You could be what looks like recently coming out of a situation where you were overworking cognitively, using a lot of mental energy. This could have been a job that really overactivated you that you're still healing from. This could have been a relationship that you were really overactivated from, where you had to use a lot of mental energy to understand them. A lot of things could have played a role in this, but a big part of this as well, if that resonates, there's a part of this that could also be a result of what's happening on a timeline level for you that your guides need this message to clarify for you. I see there's heavy mental noise because of what is shifting currently. You might be in a space where, since you're approaching a new timeline, the paths in front of you are what looks like beginning to narrow, extremely narrow. And from an energy level, when open paths begin to narrow, you will start to feel compressed. And that compression is not a comfortable feeling. It is not relieving or comfortable to have open paths narrow or removed. But it's the only way to get to a higher timeline. It's the only way to show what path is actually yours, what is actually aligned for you. These things have to narrow. If they didn't, you wouldn't know, and you wouldn't be walking down the correct path. So I see you in this space where all these things around you are narrowing. They are compressing on top of you on an energy level. You had a lot more open paths in the past, and your team and you are actively doing work to narrow those paths in front of you right now, to compress them down on top of you. And so what is happening is it's causing extreme doubt, fatigue, overwhelm. It's causing you to look at things you didn't before and question them. You're questioning yourself, your sanity, everyone around you. Again, compression feels bad. It does not feel good, right? Openness feels good. And so these are uncomfortable emotions because in the past, there was no compression. You had all this energy, open for you. Nothing was sitting on top of you. Nothing was narrowing in. So for this first part of this message, it is telling you that this is not random, that you feel so much doubt and you feel it increasing consistently, but not for the reason it may feel like. What's happening is your options are narrowing. Energy is compressing on top of you as it narrows. So what does this mean? What am I saying? I'm saying this is the difference between people who live an aligned life and people that don't. This is how people actually manifest specific things that are meant for them and not random blessings that don't actually fit. What you're doing is what many cannot do, which is sit in discomfort and wait for something in a compressed space. Wait for something that is narrow, not general. It's very important you understand this narrowing process unloads a lot of doubt. It releases uncertainty, and that full compression feeling is the reason very rarely people live truly aligned lives. It is much easier to sit in open paths and to not feel compressed, because as you're experiencing, compression is just doubt. It is uncertainty. It is overwhelm. It is all these negative feelings you've never experienced before. And why is that? In the past, when things were not compressed or narrowing in on you, you had a lot of open space. You had many opportunities and possibilities, but those possibilities were not aligned for you. It's just you didn't feel doubt and uncertainty constantly. It wasn't gradually increasing and getting worse because you weren't in a narrowing space. You weren't in a compression space. You experienced a lot of openness in your energy. And this created, as a result, less doubt in your past because you could experience things without looking at them critically, without having awareness on them. And now all of these things have negative feelings. And that is literally pointing you specifically at the fact that it is narrowing, not the fact that anything's wrong. And so what this first part of the message is explaining is this doubt, this uncertainty, this overwhelm, all these negative feelings we're talking about right now and how it's gradually getting worse is because you cannot hold a maybe option anymore. In the past, when you weren't compressed, when things were not narrowing in on you, you could hold maybes. You had more open possibilities. But now that you're in an aligned path, those maybes feel uncomfortable because now it can only be yes or no. And that's it. That's alignment. So the yes is not going to happen as frequently as the maybe did for you. And that is a part of why this is so uncomfortable. I love that I was like, this will be a short message. We'll see about that. I think I'm going to have to create a sound frequency for this just because this third eye overactivation is so overpowering for you right now. I mean, geez. You're in a space where this overactivation is sort of dominating you. I don't see this very often. Your perspective, your mood is truly being dominated by this overactivation space right now. And from what I explained in the last part, it really has to do with how you're being pushed out of that quote unquote maybe space. I see this being an intentional choice, a choice for your highest path, a choice for the best version of you, a choice for with all the blessings and the manifestations attached to it, and a choice that required you to do a lot of work. And so you've done enough work to recognize that staying in the maybe space actually just wastes your time with things that are not aligned for you. And so now that you're in this yes or no space, I see you're just in overactivation. There's a lot of mental noise here because you're not used to how compression feels. You were in that maybe space for a very long time, kind of sort of offloading the discomfort. A compression or a narrowing path here is causing your discomfort. It's causing doubt, it's causing uncertainty, it's causing overwhelm, it's causing anxiety, it's causing sadness. There's all these feelings that are attached to this narrowing of your paths, which is essentially a positive. However, it's causing all these bad feelings. Another thing that might be happening for you right now is you might be trying to surrender a lot more to these bad feelings if they are getting worse or gradually increasing. Like you're actively trying to work on reframing things into surrender. But as the doubt here presses on you, as the compression chamber, we'll call it, keeps pushing on you, the surrender is just making it worse because the doubt here gets louder. surrendering to the doubt doesn't seem to be helping with this situation. It almost needs a mental understanding. And that's why your guides here are presenting you with this message. It's important you cognitively understand, not that you just try to surrender your physical body and that's it, and try to shut off the mental noise. Your guides here, your spirit team, want you to know the reason, want you to hear the reason out loud for your cognitive overwhelm at this time. It's not because something is wrong that the doubt and the uncertainty are increasing. It is actually the opposite. There seems to be confusion when this doubt, when this overwhelm, when these bad feelings come up, that you just need to surrender harder. You'll feel this compression, you'll feel it narrowing your options, and you'll begin to think you're on the wrong path or you're doing something wrong, which is common. And so that you just need to surrender more. And I think that what's really happening here on an energy level, so you can cognitively see this, is because you're only in a yes or no space, you rarely see yes. It's more no. You're constantly being thrown no's into your field. And no is not a positive confirmation. A no is over and over again. So you're more often than not rejecting things. You're more often than not in the space of negative reinforcement. And so in the past, what makes this the most challenging for you is your positive signs were those maybes, were the open fields where maybes existed. And right now you cannot tolerate maybes because you're only on your highest timeline because of all the work you've done, because of this narrowing of your paths. So the downside of this, what is trying to be said, is you don't get positive reassurance. You're kind of in this space of constant rejections and unaligned paths, or quote unquote no's. So this constant cycle of no's without any yeses or maybes anymore is causing you to be like, okay, is this a problem what I'm doing? Am I not as clear as I feel like I am? And your guides want you to know that you are on the right path, even with the discomfort increasing and the uncertainty increasing. This message is almost saying that the more doubt, the more uncertainty you actually feel, the closer you are getting, which can feel the opposite in real time. You can feel like something's not working and you need to be surrendering harder the more you feel negative emotions. But the opposite is true here from an energy standpoint. Because if we look at this as a compression chamber or a narrowing of paths, the more compressed you feel, the less maybes exist in your field that would waste your time, that would not serve your highest timeline, which means the yes is closer than it feels. It feels further away because you just have no maybes at all anymore. You have no positive reassurance about this. So another way to say this is like, you'll probably have 99% doubt that you're on the right path because you only have yes and no's now. You don't have maybes. And that means from a percentage standpoint, you will have 1% yes and 99% no's if you are on the correct path. So 99% of the time, you will feel uncertain. And that's such a hard way to put this, but I'm trying to phrase it as like, this is why people don't experience alignment, because who wants to spend 99% of their time in uncertainty? But I sense here that you have that ability, that resilience to withstand this, to get your 1%. And so I think the biggest part of this message is stressing the reason you keep feeling like it's getting worse is actually not a signal something is wrong. All you have to compare this worse feeling to is the past, where you had 90% maybes and 1% no's. So you felt good 90% of the time. I love that I'm giving percentages here to understand this, but it's like those maybes that you had in the past kind of gave you this false sense of security. It put you in this space of never having to feel doubt or uncertainty. And so all you have to compare what you're feeling with now is what you felt in the past when you had all these maybes in your field. And so this message is really just holistically explaining to you this doubt you're feeling, this uncertainty is the main reason most people do not live their highest timeline. They do not want to feel what you are already feeling. They don't even get this far. They don't even try. They just offload it with maybes. But you're in the thick of it. You're actually like feeling it and going through the emotions. People don't do that. People don't have this kind of resilience. This is not something casual. And so it seems most people actively keep maybes around. They just don't want to experience what you're going through. They don't want to ever have to deal with it. And you're kind of seeing why, because in comparison with what you've had versus what you have now, you're like, this sucks. Yeah. But it's actually showing you something really positive. It's just not great while you're in it, I think, while you're sorting through, while you're being compressed, while you're narrowing those fields. And so your guides really want you to know to replay this message, especially when the doubt feels more real than it actually is. It's actually your biggest indicator that you are on the right path, even if it feels counterintuitive. I don't really have a long goodbye to give you. I just want to tell you all how dearly I love you. And that's it. I don't even want to encourage you to nudge me. If you're new here, you're like, what is a nudge? We'll talk about that later. Maybe go watch another video if you really care what a nudge is. But I think this outro is really just for me to tell you I love you today. That's what it feels like I need to do. So I love you. And yeah, that's it. Cheers, friends.